Okay, there we have a cube problem here. It's a redouble possibly for red, and red's on roll. We've got this as an unlimited game, which is what some people call a money game, but we don't play for money. But this is an unlimited game, and red's on roll. What's the proper cube action here? Should red redouble here? And if red redoubles, should white take or drop? Okay, my approach to all cube action is to first ask myself what's the take point and gammon values. And this said in a money game the take point is always 25% for the dead cube, but because the cube has value and you can return the cube at some point, we generally use about 21.5% as the take point. The gammon values in a money game or unlimited game is always 0.5. And it's good to learn this even if you never ever play for money, and I hope you don't. It's an evil thing to do. But if you play match play, it's very, very good to understand money play because money is a pretty simple and pure way to learn the game. And the same kind of take points and gammon values apply to a lot of match scores, mostly your match scores that are higher, like 7 away, 7 away, 0-0 to 7, and higher. Notice I always use the away score because that's what matters in match play. So I know the take points and price of gammons, and the next thing I do is Woolsey's Law. I ask myself, if I'm red, I ask myself, if I were white, would I take or drop the cube? And in this case, I would ask myself, can I win this game 21.5% of the time? And also, when you add up the gammons that I might lose and multiply those times 0.5, I have to subtract that from the number of wins that I have, and I still have to be over than 21.5, higher than 21.5%, and it's pretty clear that this is a drop. So the next question I ask myself, by the way, if I'm not quite sure whether it's a take or drop, then for sure it's a double. And if I think it's a take, then I would have to look at market losers, how often I would not have an opponent that would take on the next roll, and use that to determine whether or not I would double if I think he has a take. But when he has a drop, it's a double for sure, unless I'm too good to double. Now, there is a fallacy in the thinking of many, many people about the theory of when you are too good to double. A lot of people think that you are too good to double if you can win gammons twice as often as the number of games you might lose. That's not true at all. You are too good to double here, and let me show you the answer from Extreme Gammon. It's too good to double. It would be almost a blunder to double, and you don't win gammons anywhere near twice as much as the number of games you might lose. What's really going on here is that on the next roll, because you only have to decide for one roll, are you in risk of losing this game, or even more to the point, can something happen on the next roll to where you wouldn't get a drop if things went wrong? Well, the answer is yes. You could roll a number that misses, like a 5-1 or a 6-1 or a 5-2 or a 6-2 or anything that misses, and he could roll double sixes. Well, how often does it happen that you miss? You hit with all 3s and 4s plus double 1 plus double 2 plus 2-1. It's a lot of numbers. When you don't hit, is there a number that leaves a shot? Can you leave a shot with something? I don't see anything that leaves a shot, except a hit loose. For example, if you rolled a 2-1, you would leave an outside shot if you choose to hit loose, and by the way, you should. There's just no question. If you rolled a 5-4, if you rolled a 2-1, if you rolled a 6-4, you hit loose and take your chances, because he can only hit you back with a 1-6, a 2-6, or a 2-5. That's 6 times out of 36, and it's not likely that that would happen. And by the way, if it happens, you don't always lose the game, but you pick up a lot more gammons. There you could really use a 2-to-1 ratio. That's where it makes sense. If you're going to hit, will you win twice as many gammons by hitting as the number of games you might lose as a result of hitting? Well, if you're going to lose, if you're going to hit loose, and you get hit back, and you don't always lose when you get hit back, that's a pretty low scenario. And so is his rolling a double six on the next roll. It's much more likely that you're going to hit or play safely, and then on the next roll you would still get a drop with just about any roll that's possible. So you have very, very low risk playing on. If things don't go well, you can double next time and win the game. If things go well, you might win a lot more gammons. Pardon me. Let's just see what happens if you roll a 4-2, hit and pass, and he doesn't come in. Instead of 22% gammons, now you're up to 28% gammons, and you still don't have a single roll that leaves a shot. And things could go well. You could bring this game home very easily and get to a really nice position. And now you got 46% gammons. But so that's if everything went well. But along the way, what can go bad? Not very, very much. So you're really comparing the next roll to your odds of losing your drop. It's not like losing, it's sort of like losing your market. If on the next roll he's got a lot of rolls to where now he has a take, or a lot of rolls to where you could lose the game, then you're probably not too good to double. But you have to compare the number of rolls and the risk of that happening to the possibility of winning gammons. And the gammons don't have to be, again, be anywhere near as much as twice as much. I'll give you a severe example of a low number of gammons and no risk to speak of. You're certainly not going to win very many gammons in this position. Probably under about 3%. But what's your risk? What could possibly go wrong here? Nothing. Take a look at this. You're too good to double. It's not big because gammons are very small. But as you can see, you actually will win just really close to about a tie, gammons and losses, but not on the next roll. I mean, the worst case scenario is you roll double sixes and he rolls double sixes and you still double them out. So you really can't lose the game. You can't get into a position where you're in bad shape by playing on. So keep these factors in mind when you're thinking about playing on for the gammon. But remember one more thing. In a match, the gammon value is not always 0.5. Sometimes it's 0.65. Sometimes it's 0.98. Sometimes it's 1.0. Learn what those values are. Learn why they are what they are. And you will be a better player. Hope this was enlightening for you. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for continuing to support the USBGF, and for those of you who have taken the time to send emails or write comments that you enjoy these little lessons that I give, that's the reason I'm continuing doing it. I'm glad to hear from you, and I appreciate it, and I'm happy to keep doing this on behalf of the USBGF. Bye-bye.